So here is Y on day 38, and he's gotten the clear that since he's been on antibiotics and meds because of his jaw, he can still continue in work and in his training. So kind of part of our routine is working on standing still and picking up our feet, and I like to do this in the hallway. It's kind of good practice for when the farrier comes. And he's pretty darn good with the left side, especially that left hind was the foot that had the really bad abscess in it. He can still be a little flinchy at times, but he's getting better, and he's getting pretty good about picking up, especially when I tell him foot. So I like to try to work the voice cue as well as the touch cue. Now with the right hind, he's always kind of wanted to pick that up, and that's more than likely because the left hind was so painful for so long. So now it's just kind of turned into a habit to where he doesn't think he can be weight bearing on it when I pick it up, but he can now. So it just takes a couple of tries of asking him to stand, and then he does give that to me. That was really good. And he's kind of a funny little horse. He well, he likes alfalfa as food motivation, but he actually kind of prefers the touch and the voice reward. So that's kind of where he's at. And again, I'm just going back and working on that right hind. And this is really good right here. It's letting me get up underneath there, kind of pretending like the farrier a little bit. So I was really happy with that. I do that a couple of times a day. And now I'm out kind of in the front of the barn playing around with the pedestal and playing around with where I put my camera. So he was really good to stand on the pedestal while I did that. For him, I've worked him with the pedestal a couple of times. And of course in the beginning he thought he was supposed to jump it. But now he's starting to understand it's just a step process. So I work on getting him to step on and then to back off, kind of with the voice cue of telling him back, and then a very light visual aid, and then if I have to go with the physical of touching with the halter. So here I realize that actually this is not a good place to put the camera for this shot, and then I move it to a different place, which is much better. So now I'm going to his right side. He's still a little guarded on the right side at times, but he's gotten a lot better. And now I'm asking him to do a little bit of yielding with his body. So this is the first time I've asked him for the side pass steps, and I'm just looking for kind of one step. But he's a pretty nice and soft horse, so he's pretty smart. And here I'm asking for the kind of the forehand, and then the hindquarters come. And that was pretty good. And just give him a minute here. And then give him a rub. So now I'm working on pointing to the pedestal. He kind of thinks he has to go past it. So here I kind of am just telling him to still go to the pedestal. So he's having to take some responsibility of where to kind of search for it. It's really fun when you teach them to go on the pedestal. They tend to really like being nice and tall. They get a little air of confidence. And now working on the back. Get a nice lick and chew. He's thinking. He actually wants to go back on, which is okay. I'm just going to ask him to back off again. And then I'm going to walk away. And then point again to the pedestal. Tell him step. Kind of scared himself there, but that's all right because he just bumped the lead rope. So I helped him out there by lifting it up just a little bit. and just let him hang out. So now I'm starting to ask to see if I can get just those hind legs to step up one step. And actually, I was really proud of the try he was giving me. This is the first time I've asked for this. So I'm just thinking, you know, move your hind foot forward and suggesting a little bit with my right hand. Here he didn't quite understand, so he comes off. So then I tell him to step. It's kind of coming to the edge. Then I'm asking again for the one step. That was really good. Give him the reward. See if I can get one more. That was super. Give him the reward. Now I'm going to see if I can get that right hind to maybe step up. So here he's trying to sort it out, but he thinks he might have to jump, and so then he kind of comes off, but that's okay because I was asking for a fair bit, and this is where he's having to sort out kind of how to place his feet and what I'm asking. And again, this is a little hard because it's just the pedestal in an open space. I'll probably move the pedestal closer to where I can have a wall to block him a little bit so he can get the idea of moving the hind in even closer. Those are some really good steps he just gave me. So now I'm going to ask him to back off. Again, I'm trying to use a voice cue first, visual cue second, and then the physical cue third. So now I figured I'd play with standing on the pedestal, a little bit different height, a little something different for him to see. See how soft I can get him. And then yielding the hindquarters, he does that pretty well. Changing direction, so changing his eye. Then yield. I'm really happy with the feel he's starting to develop. And then I'm just going to finish the exercise with letting him get back on because I know he feels pretty confident with that. Give him a couple of really good rubs. Gonna ask for the back. Again, he's actually starting to like being on top of the pedestal, which is fairly common. Once they figure it out, they kind of like being up there. Again, really happy with his session. He's turning in to be a pretty fun little horse to play with. So here's one of my sessions today with Eton and working with the halter and some clicker training. So I have been able to change out the halters, but he has a lot of tension with that. So just working on building up some confidence here. And what I'm working with is when I present the halter and he can at least go and touch it, then he gets a click and a reward. So he's funny because he thinks that if he lifts his head and stays still, that that's okay, which kind of right now I will take, and then I will ask for a little bit more. I would like for him to drop his head just a smidge. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But I also don't mind if he stays still and touches the halter at any place because he is such a flight-driven guy. So kind of anything where we are still, I'm going to reward, and any type of softness or anything like that. So again, getting that halter to touch the sides, getting him comfortable with my hands going up in the air, that's all big progress for him. And he tends to only like these type of cookies, which are Knickermakers. since I've tried everything under the sun. He's doing pretty good. He seems pretty involved and kind of present, which is a nice feeling. Until he got a little distracted there, but actually dropped his head a little bit to the halter, so that was a nice change. And again, I'm really going to be pretty positive with this, kind of really giving him a lot of rewards to help build up the confidence. And I'm just going to find a spot here where he drops just a smidge. Going to quit there. That was a pretty good session.